Safety. We've placed the safety segment first in this instructional DVD because understanding and practicing the rules of safe operation are responsibilities you must accept as a recreational shooter or hunter. Do not dig into your crossbow's shipping box and attempt to assemble, load, or shoot your crossbow before watching this DVD and reading your owner's general instruction manual and your model-specific assembly instruction manual. These manuals contain more detailed information than the DVD. As we present these safety instructions, danger, warning, or caution signal words will appear on your screen. These words are American National Standards Institute or ANSI signal words used to alert you to the relative severity of hazards. The ANSI danger signal word indicates a hazardous situation that will result in death or serious personal injury if not avoided. The warning signal word indicates a hazardous situation that may result in death or serious personal injury if not avoided. The caution signal word indicates a hazardous situation which may result in moderate or minor personal injury. Remember, the danger signal word means that failure to follow the rule will result in serious personal injury, including the possibility of death. The warning signal word means that failure to follow the rule may result in serious injury, including the possibility of death. Today's modern crossbows, like firearms and other lethal weapons, are dangerous if you use them improperly or unsafely. As a hunter or recreational shooter, you must not lose sight of the inherent danger in handling a lethal weapon. Thumb, finger, and hand safety. While thumb, finger, and hand injuries may not be lethal, they are the most common sustained by inexperienced crossbow shooters and those who fail to focus on safe weapon handling practices. Practice and repetition will help you turn these simple safety rules into hunting habits. Never allow your thumb or fingers to move above the crossbow barrel's flight deck and into the bowstring's release path or in close proximity to the cables in front of the foregrip. Keep your entire foregrip hand properly and securely on the grip. If you allow either a finger or a thumb to protrude above the flight deck and into the string's release path, you will severely injure or possibly amputate it when you pull the trigger. Likewise, never hold or carry a cocked crossbow by its barrel while walking, handing it to another person, or sitting in a tree stand or ground blind. If you do, you expose the hand to the string's release path and face the possibility of severe injury if your crossbow accidentally discharges. Your foregrip hand can also be particularly vulnerable when shooting from a bench rest if the grip is resting on the bench. Again, to avoid serious injury and possible amputation, make sure you keep all parts of the hand below the flight deck and out of the string's release path. On TenPoint models equipped with a grip safety, do not depress or deactivate the grip safety until you've made the decision to pull the trigger. Press the grip safety button only with the end of the thumb's distal phalanx or tip. Do not press it with the base of the thumb or palm because that may allow the thumb to protrude above the flight deck and result in serious injury or possible amputation when you pull the trigger. If you're a left-handed shooter, we strongly recommend that you have TenPoint reinstall your grip safety for left-handed use. Just contact customer service. Before you use your crossbow. Crossbow safety begins before you shoulder the bow and pull the trigger. Before hunting with your crossbow, make certain you're qualified and understand all of the risks involved. Take a hunter's education and safety course. In fact, most states require that you complete one prior to obtaining your hunting license. Always seek a doctor's advice if you're taking medication to be sure that you're able to shoot and handle your crossbow safely. Taking drugs or consuming alcohol before or while using your crossbow may impair your vision and/or judgment and make handling your crossbow dangerous to you or others around you. Wear safety glasses when assembling, cocking, loading, or shooting your crossbow to protect your eyes from injury if the limbs, bowstrings, cables, or cocking unit draw cords were to break accidentally. Make sure you follow your assembly instructions. While TenPoint and Wicked Ridge crossbows are among the easiest to assemble in the industry, it is possible to make mistakes during assembly that could cause serious or fatal injury to you or others, or to cause damage to property. Inspect your crossbow before you use it. Check for loose or worn parts and frayed or worn string, cables, and cocking mechanism cords. If your bow is not in top working condition, using it could be dangerous to you or others around you. Do not make any modifications to your crossbow and do not remove or deactivate any of its safety features. Doing so will void your warranty, but more important, could make your crossbow dangerous or cause it to malfunction. Finally, check your local state or provincial regulations regarding transporting a crossbow. Some jurisdictions require you to keep your crossbow in a case during transport. Shooting safety. Safe crossbow shooting practices are like safe firearm shooting practices. While they may make common sense, they may not be automatic. They require practice and repetition for them to become second nature. We discussed hand and finger safety at the start of this segment because those accidents are the most common. However, here are a number of other practices you need to turn into habits during your hunts and at the shooting range. Never stalk, walk, or hike with an arrow loaded in your crossbow. There are documented reports of fatal injuries that have occurred when hunters have tripped or slipped carrying a loaded crossbow. While it is acceptable to carry a cocked but unloaded crossbow, make sure the safety is in the safe position and be careful not to place any part of your body into the bowstring's path. When you are at a shooting range, make sure you always keep your loaded crossbow pointed toward the target. Accidentally pointing your crossbow in the direction of others is extremely dangerous and potentially life-threatening. Make sure others are well behind you when shooting. Someone standing beside you could be seriously injured by flying debris in the unlikely event that a string or cable were to break. Use only manufacturer-recommended arrows when shooting your crossbow. Arrows that are too light or otherwise do not meet your manufacturer's specifications could create a dry fire effect and cause your limbs to break. In addition, make sure you inspect your arrows prior to shooting. Specifically, look for damage to the nock and vanes. Damaged arrows may not shoot as intended and can damage your equipment and cause serious personal injury or loss of life. Inspect carbon shafts and discard any arrow that contains hairline cracks. Firing a carbon arrow with hairline cracks could cause it to shatter and send sharp fragments flying in any direction. Make certain you secure your hunting arrows in your quiver. Broadheads are razor sharp, and handling arrows fitted with unprotected broadheads can cause serious personal injury or death. And of course, keep your broadheads out of the reach of children. When loading an arrow into a cocked crossbow, hold it just behind the broadhead between your thumb and your index and middle finger. Then you can slide it along the arrow flight groove and into the trigger's string slot without allowing your fingers and hand into the bowstring's flight path. Place a vane into the arrow flight groove and slide the arrow back until it seats itself against the cocked bowstring. Always point your crossbow in a safe direction. Never point it at another person or toward anything you do not intend to shoot. Make sure you know what's behind or beyond your target in the event you take an errant shot. An arrow can cause serious personal injury, including loss of life, beyond its effective hunting or shooting range. To avoid an accidental discharge that could cause serious injury, including loss of life, do not move the trigger safety to the fire position and do not put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to take your shot. On TenPoint and Wicked Ridge crossbows, the string sets the safety upon cocking the bow. This is visually apparent by watching the safety move from fire, the red position, to white, the safe position. Never test your safety by pulling or preloading your trigger. If you want to test your safety, you can do so by pushing the safety knob as far as you can in the safe or white direction. It should move approximately 1/16 of an inch and then bounce back or spring back the same distance. This bounce back means the safety is engaged. If there is no bounce back, the safety is not engaged, and you must re-engage it by forcefully pulling the bowstring as if you were cocking the crossbow. When handing your crossbow to another person, make certain it is unloaded and make a habit of keeping your hands and the other person's hands out of the bowstring's flight path during the transfer. Do not transport or store your crossbow while it is cocked or loaded. Tree stand safety. Tree stand accidents are historically the most dangerous, debilitating, and deadly. If you are hunting from a tree stand, make sure you use one approved by the Tree Stand Manufacturers Association and that you watch their safety DVD included with your purchase. Always wear a safety belt or harness when hunting from a tree stand, because a fall could result in death or serious personal injury. Also, buy and install an approved climber's lifeline with each tree stand you purchase to guard against climbing falls. Here is the typical safety sequence you should follow when crossbow hunting out of a tree stand. First, cock but do not load your crossbow when you arrive at your tree stand. It is too dangerous to cock a crossbow from a standing position in your stand. If your crossbow includes an AccuDraw cocking mechanism, you may cock it from a seated position in your stand. It's not safe to cock your crossbow manually or to cock with your AccuDraw 50, AccuRope, Dead Sled 50, Accu52, or rope cocker in a tree stand. Check your safety harness to make certain it is securely fastened and in good condition, and attach your harness safety strap to your lifeline and keep it attached throughout the hunt. Attach your unloaded crossbow to your bow retrieval rope with the buttstock pointing up. Do not carry your crossbow while climbing up or down a tree, because you could lose your balance or the crossbow could catch on the tree or tree stand and cause you to fall. Hoist and lower your unloaded cocked crossbow using your bow retrieval rope. To avoid a fall as you climb, make sure you anchor both hands securely with each step you take. Once you're in the tree stand, fasten your safety harness to its tree strap and check to make certain it is secure before sitting down. At that point, you are in a safe position to begin pulling up your bow. Before you load an arrow, check all of your shooting lanes to make sure there are no tree limbs or branches in the way of your crossbow limbs. If your crossbow limbs were to hit a branch or tree limb during the shot, you could damage the crossbow or injure yourself. Finally, carefully load your arrow and hang it on a bow hook or hold it securely in your lap, making sure you do not allow your hands to rest on the bow within the bowstring's release path. When your hunt is over, remove your arrow and return it to your quiver. Attach the unloaded crossbow to the bow rope and lower it to the ground. After you disconnect your safety harness from the tree strap, make sure you remain connected to your lifeline before you begin your descent. Uncocking your crossbow. You may have noticed that we left one task unfinished in this sequence, and it is the source of the most frequently asked question we receive. How do I uncock my crossbow if I have not taken a shot? The safest way to uncock a crossbow is to shoot it. It's not safe to manually unload a crossbow or use a cocking mechanism to do it. TenPoint has created a solution for uncocking the crossbow: the Cub, or Crossbow Unloading Bolt. It is a single-use two-piece biodegradable unloading shaft, which decomposes in or on the ground over time after you shoot it. Do not use Cubs to uncock crossbows with our RDX reverse draw crossbow bow assembly, or any crossbow with a bowstring angle when cocked that is more acute, narrower than 45 degrees. The severe string angle prevents the knock end of the Cub from properly engaging the bowstring. This condition may cause a dry fire that could damage the crossbow and/or injure the shooter or anyone nearby. Another option is to shoot an old field-tipped arrow into soft rock-free dirt or sand, or into a target. Check your hunting regulations first, however, for possible restrictions on possession of field tips while hunting. While this segment has addressed the most obvious safety concerns you need to focus on when you are shooting and hunting, it's not possible to cover every circumstance or situation that could lead to an accident. In the end, your safety and the safety of others around you depend on your mastery of safe handling practices every time you pick up your crossbow. Again, crossbows are lethal weapons designed to harvest wild game. If you remain focused on safety every time you pick one up, you'll enjoy many years of trouble-free hunting with your new TenPoint or Wicked Ridge crossbow. Finally, be safe and responsible and obey all hunting rules.